Hello, my friends, and welcome. Oh, my camera's out of sync. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the very top of my head. That's not going to work. Anyway, thank you guys for being here tonight. This is going to be kind of a not a heavy live stream, but we're gonna discuss some serious topics tonight because, well, I just think it needs to be talked about and talked about from a different perspective. Um, So I just wanted to show you my Gryffindor hat. My daughter just got back from England. She went over and went to Harry Potter World, and this was her gift to me when she got back. You know, that she bought with my money. Anyway, um, so some background to what we're coming into tonight. The topic that we're going to be covering. Um, as the uh, trailer or the title tonight said, "Do the rich get richer and the poor get poorer?" Now, my entire life, I have never believed that to be true. I have always felt like if you worked hard, if you played by the rules, that that you could get anywhere you wanted. You could do anything. The possibilities were endless, and I think some of that is still true. Um, I think a lot of it is depending on what you want to do, where you want to go, what industries you're involved in. So, for those of you who don't know, I am a truck driver, own my own truck, and I also own some of my own farm equipment. And I did a video just the other day of me baling straw. Now, the reason I'm here and I have the time to do a live stream today is because we've been kind of sidelined. Now, just to give you an idea, um, we thought we had a contract for about 20,000 bales, which sounds like a lot, but given the area that we live in, that's just a minimal number of bales that you can get around here. This area produces a lot of hay and a lot of straw, especially this time of year. And we were supposed to go in and bale, and come to find out that the farmer that we were going to be doing this for has basically kind of reneged on us, and decided that he was going to be dishonest and basically cut us loose. He gave us the worst ground. Both my partner and I, and I don't say that as how people mean partners nowadays. I mean, and my business partner, not I was married to a man, but I just call him my part. No, um, and it sounds like we're going to end up getting less than probably 10,000 bales from this guy, and we were counting on that very much for being able to make enough money to make our payments and stuff this year. For the last 2 years, we've had really bad luck in our business. Last year, there was an early frost, and some chemicals that the guys put on their straw meant that there was very little straw to bale. We covered probably 10 to 15,000 acres last year, and got about a third of the bales that we were supposed to get. We had contracts, everything. We should have had a stellar year last year, and it was a catastrophe. Now this year, there's huge amounts of straw everywhere. Everybody's getting a big bumper crop off their straw, and now there's still going to be no money for us because the people that we thought we had contracts with and did stuff basically lied to us this whole time. Um, so and trucking is like it's amazing to me. We have two industries that are kind of big around here, and really all over the country, but in our area particularly, farming and trucking. There's a lot of other businesses that are here and stuff like that, but predominantly our area is based very much on agriculture and the trucking and supplying of that agriculture to everywhere in the country. We're famous for potatoes. Idaho is just known for potatoes. Anywhere you go, if they know that Idaho exists, That's the one thing most people do know about Idaho is that we grow a lot of potatoes here. We grow the best potatoes here. Let me put it like that. We ship them all over the world, all over the country. When people see the Idaho symbol on their potato, you know you're going to get a good potato. A lot of states grow potatoes, but Idaho is kind of known for it. But we also grow a lot of malt barley. So when you guys are drinking beer, quite a bit of that comes from this area. There's a lot of malt barley grown here. So agriculture is a big thing. And, when I was growing up, the family farm was still very much alive and well. And there was a lot of people that's how they made their living. Well, as time has gone on and as equipment prices have gotten more astronomical, and it is that much harder. Like the family farm is very much a dying thing in our area. That's becoming large conglomerate, large corporate farms where the big guys are swallowing up all the little farms. And I know you might be saying, Brian, who cares? Who cares about that? I don't care. My food doesn't come from where you live. You would be surprised at how much of your food comes from where I live. Now, we don't grow a lot of fruits and stuff like that because we don't have the climate for it. But we grow a lot of hay that grows a lot of cows that provides you hamburgers and steaks and stuff. Some of the best hay in the world is grown in this area because of the climate we have. Hay does very well here. And so you could say, I don't really care about this, but it does affect you, whether you realize it or not. There is a lot of stuff that's grown in this area that affects large chunks of the ag industry. And so this area is very much dependent on those things, and a lot of areas around the country. I mean, I drive truck all over the country. I've been in most of the 50 states at one time or another, hauling goods and services and doing stuff all over. And but I am noticing more and more that the statement "the rich get richer and the poor get poorer," like I said, I had never believed that to be true, and now I'm kind of changing my mind on that. Not like the way the Democrats and liberals say it, because most of those people, most of the Democrats and stuff like that are talking about this, they're part of the rich. They're part of the big. And they're part of the rich, and they're getting richer, while the rest of us out here that make their lives possible, we get poorer and poorer and poorer. And I never thought that I would agree with that. I mean, because that's the funny thing is there's so much political back and forth. And and the funny thing is that you look at the Democrats and what they're saying, you look at the Republicans and what they're saying, you look at the independents, you look at the socialists, and the communists that want to run New York, and each one of them has little bits of truth to what they're saying, but they've gone so extreme, and they're so unwilling to listen to each other that like the truth never comes out anymore. It's completely gobbled up and lost. The Democrats are not for little guys. Okay, they're not, and they haven't been for a long time. I was talking with one of my friends today who said, if the socialists hadn't taken over the Democratic Party, I would be a Democrat, because the Democrats used to stand for being. I mean, they back in older times, they actually were the party of the little guy. They did kind of stand up for that. I wouldn't say they ever did that truthfully, but I mean, the Republicans weren't always necessarily the party of it. Anyway, so my point is there's so many different groups that it's kind of amazing to me how neither one of them get it right. That they all have little bits, and it's kind of like the gospel in that regard. A lot of the churches have bits and pieces of the truth, and I feel actually kind of get all those pieces together. Now I believe that I'm a part of all those pieces together. About their religion anyway. But it's crazy to me that the times we live in, where what the Democrats always said was happening actually is happening now. Not the way they think it's happening, but uh, and both parties are a part of it. Both parties are contributing to the destruction of our society, because they're not interested in helping people anymore. Like, neither party is. Neither party. They're only interested in themselves. That's all the politicians are interested in anymore. As long as they're getting wealthy, as long as they're getting in on the corruption, as long as they're part of the in crowd, the people who are getting wealthy, then that's what's important. They're not representing us anymore. I mean, even when we send new people to Congress, we finally get an incumbent out, and we get a new blood and get sent and send them back there. They're immediately co-opted by the system, and they're just mixed into the big churning barrel that is Washington D.C. And so, like I said, both parties are contributing to this now. The fact that the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. Now, I can say that as a guy who owns his own business, works my butt off, and I am this close to bankruptcy. I mean, if I even stumble a little bit, I will be bankrupt. And it is not because I was not willing to work. I mean, I've done videos showing people what I do, the hours that I put into driving truck. I mean, it is not an easy occupation. People think, oh, you just sit on your butt and drive. No, you don't. And anybody who has ever driven 600 to 700 miles in a day, by the time you get done doing that, you are wrung out, especially if you've got to drive through a bunch of big cities. You are just spent. It is crazy. But I mean, and then as the farmer side, the thing, like, so in my area, there's a lot. It's predominantly one religion, and I'm not going to say what religion it is, but even and these big farmers, like, they don't want to associate with little guys anymore. Here, I'm a little guy. I do custom work. So I come in and I work for the big farmers, putting up hay, putting up straw, hauling hay. They only want to work with other big guys. They don't want to give you a chance. They don't want to give you the opportunity to make money, to get ahead. And you could be like, oh, Brian, you just don't get. No, I'm hearing this a lot from a lot of different people. Like, that you have to be in this group. It's not what you know. And you've heard this saying, it's not what you know, it's who. And there's a lot of truth to that. What's happening, we're not seeing an honest market. We're seeing cronyism. We're seeing, oh, my buddy, he's got a big farm, so I'll give all my business to him. When I could possibly come in and do a better job at a better price, make them more money, they would still rather go with their buddy that is taking advantage of them and screwing them over and actually making money off of them, rather than give me a chance at earning that business. Hey, Kamikaze, welcome. Thanks for jumping in here. Good to see you. Jump in and say something if you're interested in what we're talking about tonight. And I'm just talking from my own personal experience. I can only tell you what's happening with me. But the thing is you look at the news, you look at what's happening around the world and throughout the country, it's the same thing. We're being told that they're making all of these great trade deals. Okay. Now, I believe that what President Trump is trying to do is a good thing. I think he actually does care about the country and he wants things to get better. The problem is all the people that are around them. They're part of this big guy apparatus. They only want other big guys to succeed. They want to crush down anybody that might rise up and challenge them. The uber wealthy do not want you to compete with them. They do not want, I mean, this is not necessarily the land of opportunity anymore. I mean, good luck if you want to go try and start a farm. If you want to go buy land and start your own farm, you better have won the lottery first. You better have $10 million in the bank, because the land prices are astronomical. The equipment costs are astronomical. What you have to pay to put into farming and trucking, and I mean, the costs are astronomical. I could tell you that I know of loads of trucking companies that are gone. Okay, they are gone. We just had a trucking company in this area that had they were probably running over 100 trucks over the road doing reefer, and they just shut down their reefer operation. They've sold all their trucks, they've sold all their reefers, they've shut down, and they're moving into construction type work and stuff like that because they think that's where the money is. And that only works as long as there's lots of building going on, which in our area right now, because of all the Californians and people who've destroyed their states in other parts of the country, are moving to Idaho to ruin Idaho. It's great. Which if you want to come to Idaho, cool. Just don't bring all your baggage with you. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking. Just come here and actually try and be an Idahoan. Try and leave all of the stuff that might have ruined the state you left where you left it. Leave it in California, leave it in New York, leave it in wherever you came from. It doesn't matter where you come from. I mean, if I move from Idaho and I go to wherever, then I probably should assimilate somewhat to their culture. I really should. I should not try and go there and convince them you need to be like Idaho, because if it didn't work for me, I probably shouldn't try and proselytize you guys to do the same thing. But the problem is I see this going on everywhere, where little guys, little businesses, people starting out are being crushed. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest reasons for the lockdowns. Or I don't know if that's why it was done, but that was something that came as a side effect of the lockdowns. It was that small business got crushed. If you were Walmart, well, you got to stay open. If you were a mom and pop business or operation, no, you didn't. You got shut down. You had people, I mean, they would report on you. You had police come to your business and close your doors. I mean, in our little state of Idaho, there was a mother that was walking through an empty park with her daughter to get home. And she was arrested, thrown on the ground, and taken to jail. Like, I don't know what happened to the daughter. I never did hear what happened to the kid that she had with her. But because the cops saw her in this park by herself during COVID, well, you're not allowed to be out here. And I mean, I think that people that were around the government and different, I think they used the lockdowns as an opportunity to crush the competition. I think the Walmarts and the big corporations out there saw this as a chance to, I mean, you look at how much money Amazon made during the lockdowns. That was the best thing that ever happened to Amazon. I mean, they made billions over what they normally made because all the mom and pop stores were shut down. Like you couldn't go to the local hardware store and buy a wrench or buy a thing or a doodad or I mean, you had to stay in your house. The only way to get stuff was to try and get Amazon to send you stuff. And funny enough, the postal service kept working during all that time and stuff because they had essential industries. I was actually part of one of the essential industries during the time. I was a truck driver. It was one of the first times in the 25 years I've been driving truck, I actually saw people get up on overpasses and be like, "We love you, truckers. You're keeping us alive." And as soon as COVID ended, boy, nobody liked the truckers anymore. It was, "F you, Brian. You suck. You're going too slow." It all started again. But hey, Adega, thanks for jumping in here. We're kind of having a serious. This might not be fun, but I'm going to try and keep it light as much as I can. Over the last couple of days, I've been suffering some real stress and depression, honestly, just because people pulling out of contracts, people trying to screw us over. We thought we had all this work lined up, and me and my business partner, now we're just scrambling. We're basically running around knocking on farmers' doors, begging them to let us do their straw and work for them, because the places that we thought we had set up for us are gone. Hey, Tommy, long time no see. Good to see you. So Kamikaze D, let me put it up here instead of just read it. Same for us medical people. We were loved during COVID. Now we're the devils who steal my, yeah, and and that's the thing. I mean, my wife works in the medical industry. She's a nurse. There is so much fraud and corruption in the medical industry. So many medical mistakes that are hidden, and like there's a lot of shows out right now that are actually talking about it. I think one's called The Resident, where it talks about what goes on behind the scenes in hospitals and the medical mistakes that are made and that they hide it and stuff. But I mean, part of that I think is also um, the the sue culture. Is everybody is so desperately afraid of getting sued that they're trying to hide their mistakes, and people are human. People make mistakes. Just because you're a doctor and you got a PhD, or just because you're a nurse, doesn't mean nothing bad's ever going to happen. And you know what? Sometimes things are just go bad. Anybody who's ever worked in the medical field, like sometimes my wife works in the labor delivery baby area of the hospital. And you know what? Sometimes a baby just doesn't make it. And there's nothing they could do to prevent it. And yet the hospital still gets sued. And it's like, but they did nothing wrong. There was no way to fix this. There was no way to say, and that's the thing about working in that area of the hospital. It's either super happy or the saddest place in the hospital. You get these crazy extremes. But let me ask you guys, just point out for you guys who are in the chat, do you believe at all that the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer? Or do you think it's all an individual based thing? Because like I said at the beginning, I'm just not sure. I don't know anymore but it's sure starting to seem like it, that all the big guys, even farmers, doctors, like anybody who's mildly successful is banding together to crush out the competition. To hold people down, to keep anybody from getting to rising up to where they might be able to challenge them. Do you believe that at all, or do you think that's like a Democratic talking point, which is what I always thought? I didn't really buy into the, the rich get rich and poor get poor. I used to roll my eyes when anybody would say that. But now I'm like, I'm not so sure that that's wrong. I don't know that it's a systematic thing. I think it's just a matter of successful people are banding together, and that's just maybe it's just a result of the way things work. But I mean, see, a few years ago, this is going to be anecdotal, but it used to be in our area a couple of years ago, we were getting $300 a ton for our hay, which is really pretty good money. When I was growing up, you thought you had the tiger by the tail if you got $75 a ton. So that's how much the market has changed in the 30 years that I've kind of been involved in it. But apparently everybody's gone quiet in the chat. They don't want to answer the question. Like nobody answered me. And that's okay. Maybe people are just listening and then they can't actually type back. But do you ever feel like that? Do you ever feel like you're caught in this wheel where like you're not allowed to get outside? Like I said, I'm a half a step away from being I've been half a step away from being bankrupt for 2 years. Basically, I've borrowed, begged, pleaded, and basically everything that my wife and I have worked for the last 28 years of our marriage, we have mortgaged, we have leveraged just to keep going. And now we're to the point where there's nothing left to mortgage. There's nothing left to give the bank as collateral. And yet and even when we think we've got things going good for us, somehow people manage to screw us over. They lie. They try and get out of contracts. And if you sue them, you're just going to lose more money. I mean, you're not going to end up winning most of the time, and you're just going to end up in court forever feeding lawyers. And I'm not a multi-million-dollar conglomerate, so I can't really afford to lose that. Adega says, I need to link you to some things I found out about Amazon politics, evil versus good, not rich versus poor. Yeah. And I think there is, like I said, I don't know if it's the way the Democrats describe it as being, rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. I think sometimes that's just a side effect. Like I said, as people just, it's a bizarre thing that I'm seeing. So many changes happening in our economy. Like I started to tell you, I get distracted easily. Squirrel. And that we were making $300 a ton hay. And then Biden came in and got elected and went over and pissed the Japanese off, which they used to buy a huge amount of our hay, and it was shipped to Japan. Because like I said, we have some of the best hay in the world because of the climate. It's not because like, oh, we're better. We just have really good climate for great hay. So, I mean, they would ship this hay over and use it to feed their Kobe beef, like all that kind of stuff. So Idaho hay, Utah hay, the high desert hay is some of the best in the world. And Biden went over there and pissed them off with something to do with their shrimp production. And all of a sudden, all of our exports to Japan, to China, to China, as Trump likes to say, most like we lost a huge amount of the exports that come out of our area. So farmers have been struggling because now we produce way more hay than we need for this area, and there isn't the markets to send it to. They're not paying for it. And also they've allowed the Chinese to come in, buy up millions of acres of land, and then now they're producing their own hay and shipping it over to China. So like the American farmer, we've been cut out of that. In our local area, one of the big hay presses where they actually take hay bales, crush them down, make them really small and heavy, and then ship them to China. China came in and bought one of those from an American company, came in, fired all the American workers, brought over Chinese people to work in the facility. And that's, I mean, what? Like, what the hell's going on? And why are we allowing that? We sure as hell couldn't go over to China and do that to them. They would be like, no, get out of here. Get out of here. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to be heavy like this, but I keep feeling like if this is happening to me, and I'm working my butt off to try and make this thing work, how many other people are under the same gun where they've leveraged everything? Like they don't have anything else to do, and it's just it's one stumble and you're done. You lose everything you've ever worked for in your whole life. I think there's a lot of this that's being done on purpose, because anybody who's been paying attention for the last couple of years knows that there's a lot of people out there that want to make us what they want us to live, pod, eat love, do nothing, and be happy. That's what it is. There's the economic forum. It's the uber wealthy and the super, like they want control. I think COVID was something along that lines. I think they were trying to eliminate parts of the population that they felt weren't producing: elderly, disabled, people who with pre-existing conditions. I mean, because you look at like what the scumbag that was the de Blasio, or I can't remember, might have been Cuomo in New York, but I mean, they were actively sending COVID patients into nursing homes. And then the fatalities were catastrophic. Oh, sound is totally messed up, or is it me? Okay. Oh no, never mind. It's fixed. I have trouble with this mic. I paid a lot of money for this stupid mic because I was having problems with my other one, and now I have problems with this one. So it's actually almost worse than the last one. So I apologize. And maybe I'm too close. Is that better if I get further away? No, and this shirt might be kind of busy. This is a shirt that I because you have to have long sleeves when you're baling straw. If you go out in a barley field and you don't have long sleeves on, you might as well just roll around in Satan's itching powder, because you will literally try and scratch your skin off to get this stuff out of your pores. It is the most evil substance on earth. So it did go bad for a minute. Okay, let me know if that happens again, and I'll try and stop eating the microphone. I know, right? I don't know. Like I said, this mic, I'm still figuring this mic out. So I apologize if there's any problems with the sound. Maybe I just need to talk quieter and deeper. Anyway, no, it's just what do we do as the little people? Oh, he represents the little people. As the little people, what do we do to fight back against this? I mean, when everything's set against you, I mean, and that's the thing. I think even the big farmers in our area, I think there's a lot of people that are in a lot more trouble than they let on. I think there does not seem to be near the money that we had 10 years ago floating around in the economy. It's the interest rates are going up. Like, I don't know if you guys have noticed that income hasn't exactly increased very much, while inflation has been slowly eating away at every single person. And it's just between inflation, and see, that's the thing. Inflation is supposed to be going down, and yet as inflation started to creep up, like if you ever noticed, the products kept getting smaller. Like the Ritz cracker boxes, they used to be the size of a car, and you got a lot for whatever. And then as inflation has gone up, the boxes have slowly gotten smaller and smaller and smaller, and yet the price has stayed the same. And now they say inflation's going down, or at least it's stabilized. And I just heard a report the other day that it has actually gone down, and yet that never changed. Um, the boxes are still the same. The prices are still as high. I mean, they've come down a little bit in certain areas, like the egg prices are back to being kind of reasonable. But overall, things are not like, you go to the other day, I went to the store, bought some sugar-free stuff because I'm trying to eat healthier. And I walked out having spent like $150, and I had like, I don't know, 5-10 things in my cart, and I'm just like, whew, better start selling my blood. In fact, I was telling my buddy today, the one I'm in business with, I was like, do you know how to get on the black market? I've got 2 kidneys. I could bet I could get rid of, seriously, when you start thinking, I would sell my body parts just to be able to pay off some of the debt that I'm in. Just to kind of get back to square, so that I could, I don't know, survive the next 6 months. Um, I am selling off everything I don't need, but I get on Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, and other places where you sell stuff, and I feel like so is everybody else. You would not believe how many Harley Davidsons I see for sale. You would not believe how many pickups, cars, just like everything, like nice stuff is being sold off. And I'm like, I think there's a lot of people that are in my situation that they were doing pretty good a few years ago, but they're not doing good now. And you're having to sell stuff off that you don't absolutely have to have, just to keep going, just to keep struggling on. I mean, I've got my Harley Davidson for sale right now. It's a really nice Harley, Heritage Softail Classic. It's got like 2,000 miles on it, which is nothing for a Harley. And I can't get any interest in it. I've had it for sale for 2 years. It is super nice, but nope, nobody's interested. And if they are interested, it's like, I'll give you $2,000, which I'm just like, I would drive it into a river before I sold it for $2,000. But I mean, and I had to sell one of my trucks last year just to make a payment on one of my machines. Um, it just, every time I turn around, there we're getting hit in a different direction. I've started, I don't know how many different businesses. So right now, I have a trucking company. I have a custom baling company. I have a snow removal business in the wintertime. I keep trying to start things just to stay afloat. And no matter which area I go into, I just got rejected on a bid for snow removal this fall or this winter for one of the places that we have in Rigby, and I was really dependent on them. And you know what I got told? Oh well, we went with the company that we've had them for a long time, and we're going to go with them. And so I sent the lady back that gave me the this news about the bid that I lost. I said I put his part, and I was nice, it was pleasant, being business Brian. And I said, so just help me to understand, because they asked if I had any questions. I'm like, oh, I got questions. Like, and I just said, hey, why did I lose the bid? I said, I put as part of my bid that I would meet or beat anybody's prices. That's how desperate I was to try and get this bid. And their answer back to me was like what I was saying. Well, a company that we've been with them for a while. They mow our grass in the summer. And I'm sitting there thinking, and so let them mow your grass in the summer. Let me do your stuff in the wintertime. It's like, if I'm willing to beat their price, if I'm willing to like save you money, but you'd rather go with this other company, it's like, how do you win in that kind of a scenario where even the almighty dollar doesn't convince people? And I've run into that a lot in this area where I live. It is not what you know, it's who. Oh, Bob's my neighbor. I go to church with Bob, and so we're gonna give him the business, because it's not a business decision. This is about me being good to Bob. And it's like, you know what? Friendship and stuff like should not come into business decisions. I don't make business decisions that way. I mean, don't get me wrong. I try and help people when I can. Like, we have an elderly lady in our subdivision. I plow her snow every year, but I charge her like half of what I charge anybody else. And most of the time, I wouldn't even charge her. She'd get mad at me if I didn't. So, like, I just try and charge her way lower than I charge everybody else. That's how you do that. Like, I don't know. It's such a strange. Oh, sorry, Tommy. I didn't see your. So Tommy said, unfortunately, prices on collectibles are dead. I ran in that with my old toys. Yeah, it's just everything, and we're being told that the stock market is better than ever. The economy is booming, and I'm just like, no, it's not. No, it's not. And I don't blame Donald Trump for it. He's been in office, what, 8 months? So I mean, and I just I don't. I get a feeling like this is happening because of people behind the scenes. This is not based on presidents. This is not based on who's in office. It's not even based on Congress or I feel like there's and I know there's a shadow government going on behind. Oh, here comes conspiracy theory Brian dime. I feel like there is a shadowy second government behind everything, where the mega rich and like they're trying to take control. COVID was supposed to get rid of a lot more of us than it did. It didn't. Now they're talking about the monkeypox is coming, the monkeypox outbreak. And somebody posted that on X the other night, and I'm just like, no. I'm like, I am not falling for this guy. I don't care. I mean, until I see people bleeding from the eyeballs and falling dead in the street, I will never let you lock me down like that again, ever. You blew it. You blew your one shot to I mean, I'm sorry, seriously. Unless I see people dying in the street, bleeding out of their eyeballs, their skin sloughing off or something, like, you stick your lockdowns and your like, I don't want to hear any of that from the World Health Organization. Like, you people can go to hell. Just like, no, I never again. I will never let you do that to me again. You can throw me in prison. I don't care. Yeah. And he has at every turn. We got judges in the middle of nowhere in this country that are stopping the duly elected president from doing what he wants, which they finally kind of said that they can't do that anymore, but they're still doing it. And I'm just like, you know what? The Supreme Court said you can't do that. And if a judge tries to do that, they need to go arrest him. arrest him and be like, you have overstepped your authority. Um, but I mean, and that's the thing. Every time Trump tries to step in and solve a problem, they scream authoritarianism. It's just like DC's out of control. The crime is crazy. Everybody knows it. Everybody, even the Democrats, even the reporters, the people that live and work in DC, they said it's terrible here. But the second Trump tries to solve a problem, oh, you're trying to take away our freedoms. I'm like, yeah, you like the crime? I mean, and these people that are crying like that, I'm just like, okay, I'm going to put you without a gun, without any way to defend yourself, in the middle of nowhere, Washington, D.C., and I want you to walk four blocks without getting mugged. Well, I don't want to do that. Well, that's what he's trying to fix. It's like he's not trying to take over the city. He's trying to keep you people safe, and you're fighting him on it. And it's just like I said, there's so many people, I think, behind the scenes that are seriously trying to destroy us. They're trying to destroy our businesses. They're trying to destroy everything that we hold dear. And anybody that gets in the way, they're going to try and stop. Like I said, I don't know that it's the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. I think there is some of that. Because like I said, I think those big corporations, they want to crush anybody that might rise up and try and stop them or compete against them. But it's easy to get on Amazon and order that part that, you would have had to drive down to the hardware store to go get. It's easier to get online and just order that part. And then when it gets there, you realize that the picture was wrong and you have to send the stupid part back. And it would have been faster if you'd have just gone to the store and bought the part. But we're not loyal people anymore. I mean, people used to go to work for a company and they'd work for a company their whole life. Like they just stayed there. There's no loyalty. The companies aren't loyal to the workers. The workers aren't loyal to the companies. I mean, I have always give 2 weeks notice. I've never been fired from a job. I'm very proud to say that I've never been fired from a job. I have always just left of my own accord because I wasn't happy or whatever. Not to be like, oh, I'm so perfect, but it's the one area of my life where I feel like, okay, I haven't been, But I mean, if you give 2 weeks notice, half the jobs now are just like, just leave, just get out. Because half the time when people give 2 weeks notice, they don't do anything after they give their notice. They don't actually stay and try and help the company get ready for the next person who's going to take over your job. They stay there and they just cause problems for the company. And then there's the other side, like me, who would stay, do my job, do everything I was always doing before up till 2 weeks. And to try and, because I don't want to be known as somebody who left somebody hanging. I'm trying to do the honorable thing. And it's like, so neither side is loyal to anybody anymore. Companies aren't trying to help their workers. They're basically trying to figure out how to get more money out of their work. I mean, when we have CEOs making millions of dollars and the guys that clean the bathrooms are getting paid like $750. And like I said, I'm not a Democrat, but the problem is the Democrats sometimes have a point. I mean, they don't care, but they're actually stating some real things. And the problem is that the Republicans are just worthless. They're so stupid. They don't know how to debate. They don't know how to argue. They don't know how to combat all the lies and stuff like that. And if you do get a good, sincere Democrat, like they just get destroyed by the people in their own party. I mean, same thing with the Republicans. Most Republicans, they're wish-washy. Like they get in power, they don't do any of the things they said they were going to do. I mean, and we're in the middle. We're all out here trying to scrimp, save, do whatever we can do to keep going forward. And there's just, but it's your windows for opportunity, your opportunities for advancement, your like it all just seems to keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And I heard a statistic, can't remember where, one of the shows I was listening to, or even a news story, that we are living in the time where this generation is the first time in American history since like ever where this generation has it worse than the previous generation. But I mean, we knew this was coming. You can't spend trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars forever and inflate the money, run up massive debts, and think that that's going to work out. It doesn't work out in your personal. I don't know how your guys' house runs, but I mean, if I run up massive amount of debts, which I've had to just to try and keep going, sooner or later you become so top heavy that you can't support you. I mean, I could grow my way out of the debt, but like that's the thing. There's no market to grow into. There's so many people doing what I do that and the economy has gotten so much smaller in our area that we're all competing over a pie that keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller. It isn't about people, big guys chewing up too much of the pie. It's about the pie doesn't seem to be as big as it used to be. So even if you have a big slice, it's still not as big as what you used to have. I don't know. I wish that the Democrats and the Republicans and the independent, because I'm an independent. I don't like the Democrats and I don't like the Republicans. They're both just in it for themselves. But if they'd actually get together and try and figure out, look, okay, this is a good idea that you guys have got, and there's some truth to this, and the Republicans be like, well, this is an idea, and we know this to be true, and this, we need to fix this here. It's like, so let me give you an example. So I believe and have believed for most of my life that there needs to be a cap on salaries. Okay. Nobody should be able to make more than $2 million a year. I know that sounds probably crazy. And adjust that to inflation, adjust that to, whatever scale makes you comfortable, whatever makes you happiest. And everybody can agree on, which, well, almost everybody, because you're never going to get everybody to agree on anything. But like, so that like the big corporations that are paying their CEOs $25 million, it's just like, I'm sorry, there is nothing that you could do for that company that means that you should make $25 million. I'm sorry, there is just nothing you as a one person can do that justifies that kind of a salary. I'm sorry. There's just not. As one person, you can't do enough to justify that, because it isn't just you. You've got vice presidents and managers and people who are helping you run the company in such a way as that if you're successful as a company, yeah, it wasn't just one guy that did it. Now, maybe he's got a good vision and but he's still got people who are helping him to implement his good decisions. And I just think like they should be forced to try and push that money down the chain so that everybody in the company is making more money. Because I believe in trickle down economics, like Reagan said, but there should be something to kind of force that structure into place. And I hate to use government for anything because they always ruin everything they touch and they can never do it right. But it's like, there's got to be some way of structuring things so that, but that's the problem. As a society, we're not moral anymore. We don't care about other people. We just care about ourselves. And so nobody is like, I'm going to get mine. I'm going to get mine. Then there's a lot of people on the Republican aisle side that are just like, you know what? You can't cap income because you should be able to make as much money as you want, and nobody should be able to tell you what you can and can't get. And if you work hard, you should succeed more than anybody. And I'm just like, no, that's greed talking. And there's a difference between doing well and being a greedy, pardon my expression, son of a bitch. There's a huge, huge difference. If you need, as one person, billions of dollars, you're a greedy SOB. And like, spread that money out. Do it because it's the right thing to do, not because the government told you to do it, but pay your people more. Go down to the lowest ranks in your company and bring them up, because as they spend more money, I mean, it all turns. That's what I mean by trickle down economics, is like basically teach people that are in the big companies and stuff like that, hey, push that wealth down the line so that more people have access to it. There's more money in the market. There's more ways for people to make money. And so that it's not in the hands of just a few people. That's the one place where the Democrats aren't completely wrong. Now, I don't believe in taxing the wealthy because I don't want the government to get that money either. I want the private corporations to be encouraged to push that money down. So instead of just you set caps and stuff so that people have the chance to have that money pushed down to them, so that the techs, the janitors, the people, because I don't care how cool your company is. If let's say, let's just pick Amazon. You go into an Amazon facility and you walk in, and your company that wants to come do business with Amazon, you walk into their facility, you walk into their corporate headquarters, and there's trash all over. There's trash spilling out of the bins. The floors are dirty and unkempt and stuff like that. How likely are you to want to do business with Amazon once you walk in and see that their facilities aren't taken care of, that they're not clean? It's whatever. But you know who made that first impression? It's the janitorial staff, the guys who take out the garbage and mop the floors and wax the floors and take care of those things. So they're just as important in a way as so many of the other people that are in that company. Because half the time, if they weren't there and they weren't doing that job, which is not glamorous and it's not fun, I've done it. I've swept floors. I've done that kind of work. I worked in a grocery store when I was in high school, and I was that guy buffing the floors and sweeping and mopping. And I mean, but I mean, if that guy isn't doing his job, if those people aren't there, well, that company that came to do business with you, and the CEO realizes, like, this is a shithole, they're going to turn around and leave, and you're going to lose business. So how important really is that janitor? How important are the people who keep the light bulbs all on, so that you don't have lights flickering here and lights flickering there, and this light's got supposed to have 4 lights in it, but it's got 2 because 2 of them are burned out. Those guys are just as important to the company as the CEO. Maybe not at the same level, but you get my meaning. Those people make it possible for the big wigs to have a favorable impression of their company. They are the ones that make it possible to bring in new business because their company looks professional. It looks clean. It looks well taken care of. It looks well maintained. And but I mean, also incentivize them through government regulations or whatever, that it's like, hey, when you hit over a certain amount of money, instead of pumping up the salaries of the biggest wigs in the company, you need to push that into new investment in in your own company. Push that into building a new facility or whatever. Give them tax breaks on building a new facility, on updating a new facility, to give money to contractors and laborers and stuff like that. So, like, I mean, through tax policies and stuff like that, and much like I said, I hate using the government for anything, but there are ways of using the government in a positive way to be a more moral force, by just incentivizing being good, doing good behaviors. But it never gets used like that. It gets used as a club to beat up on everybody. I see my viewer count keeps going down because this is a heavy subject. And it's very personal to me, so maybe it doesn't really affect everybody the same way. Maybe people just don't agree with what I'm saying, and that's fine. That's fine. I never expect people to come here to agree with me on what I'm saying. Kamikaze says, we have become risk adverse. We used to compete for fun. Now we look at each other with such timidity. Yeah, and that's very true. We're not. Like, we're still afraid of everybody, and because we've become a much less moral society, because we've denigrated Christianity, which is what founded this country, which is why this country was better than most other countries in the world, because we actually believed in Christian principles and tried to live by those principles. We were more generous to people. We're the most generous country in the world. We give more, and I mean as people, not as government handouts. We do more of that too, but we are a more generous people than almost anybody in the world. I think the next 10 countries combined don't give charitably the way the American people do. I've remembered for years how, like, when there's been a typhoon in Sri Lanka, tons of money gets sent from the United States, tons of blankets and supplies and charity organizations trying to help those countries. When there's an earthquake in Bengali or wherever, like we donate loads of time and loads of money to try and help people in other parts of the world. I mean, nobody else does that like us. Nobody. But as people have less and less money to spend, you can only be as charitable. I mean, when you're barely surviving, you don't have that money to be charitable anymore. I mean, you can, but it's like, well, I guess I guess I won't eat. I'll feed my kids and I'll send that extra money over to that charity. And there are people in the United States that would do just that. They give you the shirt off their back if they could. But as we become a less moral society and the church going people start to think of themselves as better than everybody else, which seems to be happening in our area a lot. One of our prophets used to talk about that pride would be one of the biggest problems for churches, that we would become so arrogant in our pompousness that we would forget that we're just as big as sinners as everybody else out there. And that as that happens, as we become puffed up in the two things that we're doing right while doing hundreds of other things wrong in our lives, but we, in our faith, we don't smoke or drink or whatever. I know a lot of people are like, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, and I don't drink. I just cheat everybody and steal and lie. And it's like, and they're like, I'm sorry to tell you, but like those other things you're doing, they're way worse than the good things that you are doing well. It's like, Christian people can become very prideful in their perceived righteousness. And I say that about myself. I've caught myself judging somebody else only to have that. So I met a kid who was dating one of my wife's sisters. First time I met him, he had more metal in his face than I had in my vehicle. Pierced all over the place, in the nose, in the lip, in the tongue, through the eyebrows. And I just looked at him and I was like, oh, good Lord. And I thought, turns out I'm one of the nicest guys you ever met. She was a mess. The sister was like sneaking out and drinking and doing crazy stuff. He actually calmed her down. He actually helped her get her head on straight. And this is this guy, which I thought was so scary looking, who was way better because I had judged him because of how he looked. Now, sometimes judging people on how they're looked but it's like, you gotta display, sometimes with a lot of people, you gotta give them that rope to hang themselves first. You can't just come in and be like, okay, time to die. No, you actually have to give them a chance to prove, am I good? Am I bad? And sometimes as religious quote unquote people, we don't do that. We just assume the worst. And I've been caught several times in judgments where I thought somebody was bad and it turned out to be that they were better than me in a lot of ways, more generous, more helpful. And so I think we have to be careful. But I think as we become a more wicked, less moral society, things are just going to get worse, because this country was founded on belief in God. Whether you like that or not, whether you're an atheist or not, whether you like, this country was literally founded on belief in God, the freedom of religion, freedom to speak your mind, and the only way that works is if you have morals to keep it in check. I can't remember which one of the founding fathers it was. I think it was Franklin that said that this form of government is wholly inadequate for an immoral people, that only moral people, only people who believed and followed the 10 commandments, followed the golden rule, do unto others as you would have done to yourself. I mean, all of the great things that the Bible teaches. Like, if you're following those precepts, there was a talk I heard one time that if you only followed 2 commandments, love thy neighbor as thyself and love thy God, there would be no need for any other commandments ever if you just followed those 2. I don't remember who said it. I wish I did. But if we don't follow those things, then we become an immoral people. We become a people who doesn't care if we're screwing over our neighbors. We don't care if we're screwing over our employees. Ethics, morals, all that stuff goes out the window if you don't. And I'm not saying you have to be a Christian. You just have to have morals. You have to understand that there is something bigger than you. That there is a God. There is somebody out there who has a vested interest in you trying to be the best person you can be. Whether you think that's just some ethereal creator, I mean, whether you believe that's Jesus, whether you believe, like, whoever you believe in, like, people are always like screaming that religion makes things worse, and sometimes it does, depending on the religion. Muslims. But most of the time, religions don't hurt things, they make things better. As long as it's just like anything, moderation in all things. Don't take it too far. If you're a Christian, don't cry. Don't do a crusade. If you're Muslims, don't rage across half of the world and kill everybody who's not a member of your religion. I mean, if you're Hindus, don't. Whatever religion you are, don't take it too far. You don't have the right to press other people into being what you want them to be. You can only try and convince them to do what's right. And that's where I want to leave this, is that if we don't turn away from the wickedness that we are choosing as a people, if we don't stop it and teach people that what they're doing is wrong, the things that I've talked about are only going to get worse. Like, the rich are going to get richer. The poor are going to get poor. The evil people behind the scenes that are trying to ruin your lives without even knowing who you are, they're going to get more powerful. You have to decide to change yourself and to try and change everybody around you and to try and help everybody around you. And it gets hard when there is so much wickedness. But I think that if we don't change, that big 12-mile rock that's coming through space with the aliens on it, they're going to kill us all. You know what? Somebody was talking to me about that today. It's like, oh, have you heard about the big alien spaceship that's coming? I'm like, yeah, and I'm kind of hoping at this point they just show up and wipe us all out, because I'm not sure that we deserve to keep living here, because we suck. Like, as a species, we used to be okay. I mean, we've never been all the way okay, but like, we are so not okay right now. Like, Thanos could come in and snap half our population away, and I'm like, I get it. Even if I was one of the ones that got snapped away, I'm like, I still get it. I get it. As a general rule, we need to be humbled. We need to be shown that, hey, maybe being a bunch of psychotic, immoral people, not such a good idea. Not such a good idea. All hail the visitors. Yeah. Oh, I'm telling you, there's days when I'm just like, Lord, just send the meteor. Just boom, just wipe us out. Like, everybody's been talking like, oh, there's earthquakes and volcanoes and everything going on. Yellowstone could explode. And I'm just like, do it. Just do it. Because if Yellowstone explodes, because of where I live, I won't even see the flash that killed me. I mean, and I'm like, you know what? That's a way better way of going out than being fat and diet of, diabetes, or tripping and falling down the stairs because I can't see my own feet anymore. I mean, it's just, I'll take a giant meteor. I'll take a giant volcano, a giant tsunami that wipes out, half the. Because right now, I'm telling you, it's getting hard to stay positive. It is really getting hard. I love you guys. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Sorry it's so heavy. I will try and do a much happier, gentler, one more wonderful Brian in the next video. I've been feeling the frustration the last couple of days. If you're just coming in, go back and watch what I've been talking about, because I think we all get to this place where I'm at periodically, where we're just like, I don't know how to keep moving forward. Like, I've tried so hard in so many different ways to keep moving ahead, to try and make things better. And it's not working. It's not working for me. How do I fix this? And I just hope that we need to reach out and help each other in these times, and remember that it's not always just us that's in the struggle. That we need to help each other. Thanks, Kama. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for being here, and we will talk to you all next time. Bye now.